by their loved ones, and to have that sense of, we did this on our terms. We did this the way that we wanted to, not in and out of the hospital with machines and hookups and doctors and nurses, and that they grow very close with our staff. And you know, I just read a letter yesterday from someone saying, you know, they were sending in their annual donation and saying, you know, you were in our lives for a very short time, 10 years ago. I can't remember the name of the caregivers, but I'll never, I could no more forget you than I could forget my wife, and I will send this donation every year. And so it's those types of things that kind of, I think, rejuvenate our staff, make it very worthwhile, and a wonderful organization and profession to work with.
Absolutely, yeah.
And we really give the family the tools they need. You know, they have the technical equipment and everything, but we just kind of give them the strength, I think, with our spiritual care coordinator and the social workers, and to tell them that they can do this. And, you know, everything's going to be fine. We're always there. They can, you know, they call us 24/7. They don't call 911. They call us. And
much better. A much better voice of someone they know from a place they know.
You know, we get a, I think that Sue Kearns was, you know, 3 o'clock in the morning yesterday somewhere over there, just with the family.
Really?
Yes, we are available. That's an important point to make, as 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. We have on-call coverage constantly. You know, we close very rarely for holidays, and when the office is closed for holidays, there is someone who's on call, picking up any messages and making visits and so forth. And
Talk about comfort and security of knowing that somebody's going to be there for you, you know. That sounds like an incredibly important feature of this. Now, for people, we may in a minute get to talking a little bit about volunteers, and I know, Jose, you'll be able to help us out on that a little too. The question I wanted to ask is, what would you say are the biggest difficulties in terms of doing this kind of job, and for a program like this, and needs too?
Sure. I mean, you might think that, you know, I think that some people would think that it's a depressing job. We hear,
I'm
you know,
glad you're speaking to that, because that's, I'm sure a lot of people,
you know, when people ask me what do I do, and I say I work for hospice, they say, oh, that must be so depressing. Yeah. And I thought about it for a long time, and what I tell them now is that it certainly can be sad. There are times when it's incredibly sad, and we have stories that make us sad, you know, where human beings' lives touch us, but it's rarely depressing. You know, the feedback that we get from our families, and the way that I think we as staff and the volunteers support each other. You know, they can speak to it in a second, but, you know, we have volunteer support group meetings, and we have our bereavement meetings for our staff, where they get to process out what it was like for them to lose their client, and, you know, what it was like for them to be at the house and attend funerals and be with the families and go to shivas and wakes and all of those things. So I think that we are able to really turn the difficulties of the job into something that is a positive experience for everybody, and we really hold each other as a group of co-workers and staff and volunteers to be able to do that, and our families and our community as well. So you know, the difficulties are kind of inherent in the job, but we are able to really turn that into something positive.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody else wants to say something.
Well, we discuss our cases every week pretty much, and we try to talk about the client as they were before, like kind of the spirit of them and the essence of them, and we do that at our bereavement meetings, and what they were like before they were sick. So, and I think that's really helpful for the family too, that we're looking at, you know, the whole picture and the person before their illness, and helping them through this point, but you know, we can remember with them what it was like before.
That's important.
One
of the things I was thinking from what you guys were saying is there's a kind of parallel when people say, well, you're a therapist and you work with people, isn't that depressing? And my answer is the same as Jennifer's, in that just the opposite. Yes, we go through all the different emotions of life, and sometimes it's sad, and they've been through traumas and difficult things, but I consider it an amazing privilege to connect to a person in the way I'm allowed to in my role, and I hear that in what you're saying. And second point I heard from what you're saying is that you have a community of caring around you, and so that person benefits from it, and you benefit from it, and it kind of reminds us we're all in this together. Yeah, and so I love that. I love what you guys do, in case you haven't heard my bias. Let me ask a little bit, Jose.